Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom, today with Katharina and with Navasit and Suchada. We have a very hot topic today.
Okay. Our question is, how can we avoid manipulation and control?
Yeah, manipulation and control, that's a very, very difficult topic. And actually, you cannot really avoid it completely. Remember that the manipulation and control already starts or has started generations, hundreds of years ago. This is always those who have been in control have manipulated and controlled the masses. And it has something to do with your consciousness level. So there is only a way to rise into a higher consciousness to even recognize manipulation and control. So when we were born, our parents have already functioned already in a certain program, right? Mm-hmm. And when they start to educate us, at the first couple days already, with food, with everything, you know, you are manipulated into doing things to please the parents, to be accepted. Mm-hmm. Because this kind of I love you if you behave, if you good girl, if you good boy, if you blah, blah, blah. That was what we believe what love is. We recently talked about love, but that's not really love. This is, again, that's a program, that's manipulation. Mm-hmm. So the whole manipulation we are under in the moment is so strong that everybody who is in a lower consciousness level that is still based on fear does not even have really a free will anymore. And you know, also the free will we've been talking about has something to do with the consciousness level. We have a frame that we function within, and within that frame, the free will we have is to choose our action or reaction. Mm-hmm. But the people in a lower consciousness, they don't even have this choice. They just act and react because it's unconscious. Mm. So manipulation, that would actually go into the next question that you asked here. How can we recognize when we are manipulated? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So we can recognize it very strongly also if it goes against what we really want to do. Manipulation in a way can be positive or negative. So for example, somebody can make a suggestion of something and you feel, yes, wow, that's what I do. Then it is, you are allowed to have your free will to choose if you want to do it. Mm-hmm. But if somebody or your mother or teacher or a boss or whatever it is, an authority person tell you have to, that goes into manipulation and control. Mm.
So we can recognize.
Yeah. Now, for example, when I have my staff, I give orders. And in a way, I can say, this is a kind of manipulation too. You have to do this, you have to do that. But we have a working agreement. And as long as I give them order within this package, what is their normal duty to do, I can give orders and have a certain control. And this is not actually manipulation, even if I might manipulate him to do something in the way I want him to do it or her to do it. Mm-hmm. So I would say this is okay. But the kind of manipulation to form you in the way that the masses want to have you with propaganda. and all kind of other tricks, advertisement, all the tricks about advertisement. This is absolute manipulation.
It's kind of the message that we absorbing little by little, and manipulation is strong when we totally believe.
Yes.
Right.
And remember, belief is the opposite of knowledge. If you believe, when we have the opposite yin and yang of the word is belief and doubt. When you believe, you also doubt at the same time. But if you know from experience, that is different. But whatever is the manipulation, it makes you believe. So when somebody manipulates you, you're not completely sure.
So that's manipulation and control the same thing?
Not exactly. Manipulation is still a little bit, let's say, okay, I try to manipulate you, but I don't force it on you. Like, for example, when I do advertisement, I have these billboards or whatever it is your free will if you want to believe it or not. But if I control you, I force you to.
I see.
So control is a step further. First comes the manipulation, like, for example, with the whole shot topic we had in a moment. In the first time, it was more manipulation with you have to blah, blah, blah. But then it started to become force. And the thing is that actually they force something upon humans that is absolutely illegal. It is not based on any law, but because people are obedient, that is again the manipulation, the program, and the low consciousness level that is based in fear. So people are afraid if I don't do what they tell me because they are authorities, I'm gonna be punished.
So afraid and guilty was coming after manipulation. Is that right?
Yeah, you can have both, actually. I think fear is coming first. But if you're manipulated into doing something and afterwards you see that it is not good, you might feel guilty about it. And this kind of feeling guilty is, again, like, guilt is also something that is in a fear-based consciousness. Because once you really act instead of react. If you really think about what do you want to do, or even if there is a manipulation or even a kind of a control to a certain degree, you can still have the free will to say, okay, I go along with it, but I observe very clearly what's happening, so I can step out at any time. Or I can say no at any time, but you're awake, you're not just going with it because all the sheeps are in the herd traipsing in the same direction. Manipulation can be very subtle. And especially when it comes also in the way of relationships. I remember I had a boyfriend when I was very young, and we went together traveling, and he used to kind of always, he was used to have a nanny when he grew up because his parents had a business. So he was used that the little charming boy, he was very good looking guy, was always receiving what he wants if he kind of just... So he told me, hey, darling, would you please make me coffee? Kind of. So this kind of manipulation, kind of a very sweet kind of manipulation. Then he hugged me, thank you very much for the coffee. So he always get what he wants.
This
So
is a very high.
criticize and criticism also another method of manipulation.
Yes, but
Mm.
criticism then is the negative part of it, you know, like you see it immediately and you
Yeah.
get angry. So you see there are many different levels, subtle levels of manipulation. And you know, like for example, if you work for somebody and they criticize your work all the time, so to make you work harder, that is a very mean manipulation. But this is something what happened very often in business, you know.
Mhm.
Generally, we can say that today, the masses, I would say probably 90% of people are manipulated.
Mm.
And even in those pyramids of the cabal of the ruling elite, you know, even those, like if we talk about Freemasons, whatever, first degree, second degree, and so on, they're completely manipulated. They don't have so much free will anymore, because once you enter this pyramid and you want to go up, you're under complete control.
Mm.
So these people might even think they are free, but they are not. Well, I think they know.
They accept.
For power.
Mhm. Mm.
Power is like an addiction, you know.
I see. Mhm.
And the really bad thing is about that, the power today is looked at it as completely negative. This is why many so-called light workers, or whatever you want to call them, are afraid of power, because most of us in past lives, me including, I know from a past life, I have misused power. And I'm the hell afraid of having power again. I don't want to misuse it again. And but I think it is very important looking at the whole evolution process through many lifetimes we had to go into the negative to understand it. You cannot always be in the positive. You have to balance it, meaning you have, and I have done regression therapy for 10 years with people, and everybody came to the point where he or she was not the victim but the perpetrator doing something bad. But most of my clients at that time stopped the reincarnation therapy because they could not accept that they have been on the bad side at one point. But if you don't look at that, and if you don't look also that you have manipulated, that you've been on the negative side, because you need to experience it, because nothing that we have not experienced ourselves is true knowledge. You can study books, you can read, you can learn whatever, but whatever you have not experienced yourself is not your own knowledge. This is why a true shaman, a healer, has gone through the illness, gone through very deep, a very deep dive into illness, that he or she will be initiated to become a healer and has healed him or herself. Otherwise, you cannot be a true shaman, a true healer. There's also a lot of people blah-blahing a lot about healing, about this and that. They've never healed themselves. Why is it so much in those circles that they talk about, I'm a healer, I'm a this and I'm a that they cannot heal themselves? Because they have not understood it. So going back again, this is all about control and manipulation. You are manipulated into believing you are not good enough. You are not powerful. You cannot be powerful if you're a good person, because power is bad. So if you take on your power, you will automatically end up being bad. That's a pure manipulation. The divine power that we have is incredible. I actually just had a picture from, let me see, in the Silver Dove Network today. It just came in about the power of the heart. And you remember we've been talking about this when we were talking about the chakras, that actually our whole power lies in the heart. And let me see, I just pushed it up. I can show it to you. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So you see that actually the whole energy, that torus of energy that is around us, is based in our heart. And again, there is nothing we need to open and close and anything. This energy is within us. This is our life energy that is connected with us, is our divine power that is bigger than our physical body. That's what people also call the aura. And this is the true power that we have. And we have also talked about that, you know, that in our heart are brain cells. So the trick is to learn to think with the heart. And this is what you achieve through meditation, that what you achieve through being in your center. You don't need to open and close any chakra or whatever, anything. It is in you. You don't need to give your power away to anything outside, not even any cosmic, whatever energy you bring in or out. You have it within yourself, and that is the human secret. And once you have that heart open and activated, and the two other centers that we talked about in the loop of the number, like a number 8, like a infinity symbol, then you cannot be manipulated anymore, because you have taken back your power as a divine being having a human experience.
So can we manipulate ourselves?
Difficult question, but I guess yes. You know, we still have within us the ego versus the self. Now, I talk about the self, the capital letter self is the divine self, the divine intelligence, our DI. And the ego is programmed. The ego is a program. And we need this program to be able to exist here. Exist, X means out, stepping out. I exist means I step out of unity. Now we are in polarity. We can recognize me and you. I have an inside and I have an outside. And the ego is the one that is functioning in this polarity. We can say our divine self, the real aspect of the divine self, never really leaves the higher realm, but the ego is here. That is our personality. And now, depending very much on where you grow up, if like in Europe, in America, in Asia, in wherever, you have a different program from the beginning onwards that we call education. And education, again, the way it is today is all manipulation. It's judgment. You have to believe this, you have to be this, you have to do that, and so on to be good. And you're not programmed to live. You're programmed to be a being that pays to give away the energy to those who control you. And in that way, yes, the ego is manipulating us into certain behavior. And again, we can just say that there is a consciousness level, you know. Once you understand the difference between the ego and the self, like also the moment you start to stop to give away your power, And you start to really listen to your heart, what you want to do, who you want to be. Your ego cannot manipulate you anymore. But I guess this is probably very difficult. I just, what I told you before, that with my work and stuff here, that's also ego. Because I want, as an ego, this little farm I have to be in perfect condition. And I give orders to my workers. And if they don't follow the orders, my ego tells me, and I can get angry. This is like my ego manipulates me to be angry, we can say like that. But then again, you see that again and you come out of it. But most people don't see it, and they are stuck in there. They're constantly angry, they're constantly fearful.
So we need to practice consciousness to be able to catch up with the manipulation of the ego.
Yeah, I think that's the only way what we can do. There's nothing else we can do. We have to, whenever something happens, that we just go inside for a moment and ask ourselves, is this manipulation? Is this control? Do I really want to do that? And this is again what is in meditation, like you do not need to sit anymore and meditate. You have to be centered. In meditation means to be centered. So the more you can be centered in your mundane life, the less you can be controlled and manipulated. This is now not just sit 20 minutes in the morning or evening, meditate, and then come out of it and be your ego self. But kind of bring this meditation into life. And this is why I believe that not only the sitting meditation is good, this is like very good to do different kind of meditation, that you concentrate in your daily life, what you do. I always realize that I'm in a very creative meditation when I work certain things that I like to do. And this is the moment you forget the time and you do something and whoa, it's already noon or something like that. The time just flies by because you're completely there. This is when you're completely centered. So the opposite of being manipulated and controlled is if you're creative. Because if you're creative and you have your own ideas, you can do things in your own way. If you have no idea, if you're not creative, you need others to tell you how to do and what to do. So for example, an entrepreneur. I recently watched a little video about money. And he said, because you never learn anything about money, but if you want to make money, really, you never work for money. You work for yourself. You have projects, you do this, you do that. And the money will come to you because of your creativity. You will attract the money. Like an entrepreneur who really goes into his passion, does something and refines it, get into it more closely, and suddenly a breakthrough comes. You maybe have to work for some money. Like this guy, he said he was distributing newspapers and washing dishes and doing this and that, but he never asked for money for what he created. till it had the breakthrough and the money flow came back. So it's a law of energy, you know, an energy exchange at one point.
So to be stronger, to aware on the manipulation, from hearing what you just said, I interpret that we just have to focus on what we really want. And
yeah, your own creativity.
And what we want to do or not do. So we have like the pillar, like rooted on ourselves.
Yes.
And when someone try to manipulate us, then okay, we know.
Yes, exactly. Then you know, because your consciousness level becomes higher, because you're not focused on fear and on to please others. I am a divine being having a human experience. What I bring back when I die, when I leave this body, is all the experience that I had. That is what I bring back, we can say, in the Akashic records, for example. Everything what I have experienced is there. And through experience, I grow, I evolve, I move forward. I will be a more powerful tool in society to help people to create something. It is all about experience. Because this is my first-hand knowledge. But now imagine if somebody is in a lower consciousness level and, like, for example, works in a factory and 50 years does nothing else than a couple things, you know, push, put whatever. That gives no real life experience. And this is not necessary. When we go back in time, if we would have like smaller unities again, communities where everybody has a role to play, to help each other, to grow food, to build houses, to make it, everybody's involved, everybody could have an experience. So the more you specialize things, the more that your canal of view kind of becomes smaller. The more you do, the more experience you have. And that grows with consciousness level, because then you are interested to move forward, to educate yourself, to learn something new, to try something, to be creative. And that's how you avoid manipulation and control. They cannot control somebody who knows. They can control people who believe. That's why religion is based on belief. Yeah, so this is how we can control. What else do we have here? How do we deal with the ego? Yeah, the ego, exactly. Because the ego can be controlled, the self cannot be controlled. So it is depending on how much ego and how much self you allow you to be. Like, there is a lot of people who are just 90% ego. But once you move forward, like, as I said before, through meditation, to be centered and focused on your true self, on the divine self, the more you become self, the less you are ego. But you still are ego, you still go in and out and in and out. Because once the ego is completely gone, and we don't have to get rid of the ego, because the ego is needed for the experience. Once the ego is gone, that's when you die. Because there's no purpose to be in polarity like that anymore. It's like breathing in and breathing out. You still need both. Breathe the in-breath and the out-breath. So as long as you are in this human body, and again, talking about free will, we have agreed to be in a certain box. And in that certain frame of polarity, we have the free will to be either ego manipulated, whatever. But most people don't know that. They just go with the flow. They walk with the herd, the sheep. And you also know that yourself, that the moment you step out of the herd, that you step out of that conglomeration of certain people, you're more alone. And the others, they don't agree with you so easily anymore. I think you just had such experiences, right? Yeah. Anything else here? Do you have any more questions to that topic?
I don't have. Do you have, Navasit?
No, I think we clear about it.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That was a really good question. So thank you, and thank everybody for watching this. And if you like it, please hit the thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you very much, and I look forward to see you again in our next video.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.